Yeah, you like my little Hannibal? Hannibal. We don't do elf in the shelf in this house. No, because elves are creepy. They have a sinister, deviant quality about them that I just don't care for. I prefer psychopathic serial killers on my shelf instead. That would just be so mean. We'll get the show on the road. OCD. Yep. Check. Water. Okay. Hello everybody, welcome back to Books Yada Yada. I'm Tina and thank you so much for watching my channel. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. Did you have a wonderful Christmas? Please let me know. Please comment down below. Let me know what you got. Did you get everything you wanted? Was it peaceful? Was it calm? Was it less people? Was it less craziness than normal? Yes, maybe. I don't know. You tell me. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I hope it was peaceful, joyful, all of those good things that Christmas should be. So you guys, it's almost here. The end of 2020 is upon us. Thank the heavens above, it's happening. Although, you know, there may not be any significant difference once the first of the year hits, but so what? It's the end of the most abysmal, for some people, not for all of us, year. But it's been a good year for reading. It's been a good year for reading, you guys. I'm not thanking COVID for anything, but sometimes you gotta make the lemonade out of the lemon, you know? One thing that did happen was I read a lot of books, you guys, and I'm gonna stick it up here, right? Yeah, 180 books on my Goodreads goal. I know, it's insane. I know some people read more books than I did. I hope my mic is picking up here. I'm going to just adjust it here for a second. But, yeah, I wasn't obviously anticipating reading that many books this year, but I did. I, as you can see in the picture, had a goal of reading 30 books, and I surpassed that because of the madness. So let's get started right away. So basically what I wanted to talk about, you guys, is this is my end of the year wrap up. I feel like all I've been doing this month are wrap ups, which is just kind of sad. I was not very organized this month. I am today. As you can see, I have my booktube journal where I put all my ideas and I never look at. This time I figured, you know what, this is the end of the year video, the end of the year wrap up. I'm really going to try hard to organize my thoughts, have some semblance of order in this video. I wanted to talk about the books that were my 5-star books of the year. So I went back to the beginning of the year into my Goodreads account and I picked all the books that I rated 5 stars. So those are going to be the books that I'm going to be showing you in this video. I'm not going to be reviewing these books.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
I'm not even going to be reading any of the plots. Just going to tell you what they are. Okay, so the first book I gave 5 stars, and that was The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I loved this book. I thought for their debut novel, it was a fantastic twist. It was creative. It was different. It was something completely refreshing that I hadn't come across in a really long time in a book, and I loved it. I'm not going to go on about their other 2 books. Then, Before She Knew Him by Peter Swanson. Now, I did explain in one of my videos, I'm going to have to go back and find it, and I will be inserting cards, hopefully. But Peter Swanson, I went on a bender back when COVID first kind of hit, back at late March into April. He has quickly become one of my new favorite authors. I found this one to be my favorite out of them all. It is a hypnotic, mesmerizing,
sexy,
and it's not a romance. Peter Swanson, 5 stars on Before She Knew Him. And I think the next book I read that I gave 5 stars to was Endless Night by Agatha Christie. This is a unreliable narrator type book. I loved it. I'd never heard of it before, and I read a lot of Agatha Christie, but I think I read more of her popular book. Endless Night was a book that I stumbled across it somewhere and thought, ooh, you know, that sounds really good, and I loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. So the next one was Behind Her Eyes. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story about this one, you guys. At first, I gave this 2 stars because I was pissed. I was pissed at the ending of this book because it was completely unexpected, and I think a lot of people felt the same way. Then I went back and thought about it. It was one of those books that stayed in my mind for like quite a long time after I read it. And at that point, I had to go back to my Goodreads, which was just recently, and change my rating of this book to 5 stars because I thought about it, and I went, well, you know what? If this book has stayed in my mind and has somehow embedded itself in my brain, then it has to be good. And it has to be that good, right? The books that I give 5 stars to are the books that stay with me. I don't know if you're the same way, you guys. Let me know if you are. But the books that I remember for months, for years afterward, that I can remember very specific details about, I give 5 stars to because I have a very fleeting memory. You know what I mean? If I read a book and I don't remember it like a couple of weeks later, then it probably wasn't that great, right? This one I remembered, so this one I gave 5 stars, and it was definitely one of the good books, the best books I read all year. I was just pissed at first because of the ending, but then I went back and thought about it, and I'm like, you know, that was masterful. It was masterful. The next book was Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. You guys might have heard me talk about Liz Nugent before. She is an Irish author. She came to the writing game rather late in life at 45 years old, and her family encouraged her to do so. Thank you, Nugent family, for encouraging your mother, your wife, to write books because she is a phenomenal author, you guys. This is a beautifully written book. She writes mostly suspenseful thriller type books, but they're written in a very subtle, classy way. And this particular book, I mean, look at the cover, right? That's a beautiful cover, number one. Just a phenomenal writer, and I'm so glad that I found Liz Nugent. So this was a 5 star for sure. I want to get to the next book right away because guess what? It's another Liz Nugent book. Yep, Unraveling Oliver. Look at another great cover. This was just one of those books that I could not put down. The thing about her writing is that she paints these characters that you feel so deeply connected to, that you sympathize with, that you love, or you absolutely hate. She is such a great writer that she makes you feel like you are actually in the book. You are in the story. You are surrounded by these characters, and you know intuitively whether or not you like them or you don't. I don't know how she does it, but she is one of those writers that just blows my mind, and how they can craft a story and craft characters with that much depth and not using too many words. She's an easy read. Unraveling Oliver by Liz Nugent, another 5 star. Next book I read was The Ice Queen. This book I had been sitting on my Alice Hoffman shelf because I have an Alice Hoffman shelf in my bookshelf. She has her own shelf. And one of these days, if I ever do a bookshelf tour, you will see my Alice Hoffman shelf. Hadn't read this one. I got to it this year. I absolutely loved it. Alice Hoffman writes with this magical realism. All of her books, she weaves they're sort of otherworldly, but they're very believable too at the same time. She brings out the magic in reality. If, my house burned down, I would try really hard to pull at least a couple of her books from my Alice Hoffman shelf. So The Ice Queen, beautiful book. This one was The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. This was a great, what do they call it? Not a road trip book. Wait, sort of. She's not taking a road trip on purpose. Loved this book. I love Lisa Lutz writing. She's an easy read. It was extremely suspenseful. It was very character driven, which I love that as much as I love a good atmosphere, right? And so it was definitely a page turner, and I gave this book 5 stars. It was fantastic. The next book that I gave 5 stars to, and so there was quite a lapse because I read The Passenger before I started my BookTube channel, you guys. So if you notice, all of the books that I just covered here were books that never made it because I read them before I started my BookTube channel. Look, it took a long time between, say, August and November for another 5 star book, but that was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. It's dark academia. It's a long book. There's so much going on in this book I would love to talk about, but I think that I really would need to sit down and organize my thoughts on this one for sure. Because if I went off the cuff like I normally do on The Secret History, it would be extremely fragmented. So I don't want to do that to you, but just know this was a 5-star read for sure. And I'm so glad that I read it. Escape Room by Megan Golding. You guys know how much I love this book. These are all the physical books that I gave 5-star reviews to. So The Escape Room, unbelievable, suspenseful thriller. It was not a mystery. The publishers did not label it a mystery. You guys, it was just crazy, insane, on the edge of your seat. You're just going from chapter to chapter. You know what's going to happen, but you just can't wait for it to happen. It was such a well-crafted book. So good job, Megan Golding. Loved it, The Escape Room. Kindle and e-read books that I gave 5 stars to. I'm going to insert the pictures of them. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I did read that earlier in the year before I started my channel. Under the Water by Paul Penn. I read that back in September for Hispanic Heritage Month because Paul Penn is a Hispanic writer. His and Hers by Alice Feeney, which I don't even know if I want to say that this was the very first book, you guys, that I reviewed on my BookTube channel. And if you really want to go back and look at that video, it's painful. I can't watch it. I don't know why I'm whispering, but for some reason I'm whispering, and I'm a very loud person. You probably have noticed that. I always have to play with the volume on my when I'm editing my videos because I tend to be very loud. So yeah, that's an embarrassing video. It's my first one, but I reviewed His and Hers by Alice Feeney, and that was a 5-star book for sure. Loved it. Second to last one was The Neighbors by Hannah Mary McKinnon. Unbelievable book. That woman just writes the most amazing dialogue I have ever read in a book. She's just fantastic. She is a great, great writer, and it was a great domestic suspense. And the last book I gave 5 stars to this month was a book that just happened to come to me out of nowhere, you guys. It was in my Kindle Unlimited library. Apparently, I had picked it as a prime, maybe first reads. I don't know. It's called Ghost Writer by Alessandra Torre. The Ghost Writer was a contemporary fiction. This book I just finished maybe 5 or 6 days ago. It was the best book, hands down, I read all year. It was emotional. I kind of got tricked into reading it because I was going through my Kindle library and was like, ooh, The Ghost Writer. That one sounds good. That one sounds spooky. Let's go ahead and click on that one. And then I started reading it, and I didn't really read the synopsis very well. And when I did go back and read the synopsis, I was like, well, this still sounds thrillery. It's not a thriller, you guys, but even though it's not a thriller, and even though it's a contemporary fiction, and even though it is a very emotional, moving story, I'm telling you, it is amazing. It is the kind of book that stays with you for a long time. And she is just a great writer. Again, I know I say that a lot. I've said that about all of these people. She just has this way of writing where it's, again, easy read. There's a lot of meaning packed into maybe just a few sentences, which I love. That's such an incredible talent for a writer to have, I think, is brevity, is being able to pack so much emotion and depth into just a few, sentences or paragraphs. Read that book. It was amazing. You may cry, you may not, but it will touch you. It was just beautiful. So moving on, you guys. So those are my good books. So the ugly part, I'm not going to go over the ugly, right? Because I think that I don't want to end this year with a video that's really negative. I don't want to end this year with a video that dwells on the books that I hated, right? Because you guys already know pretty much all the books that I hated. And I did, a fair share of negative reviews since I've started my BookTube channel. So I just wanted to go out on a positive note into 2021 with a 2020 wrap up that's more positive. The things that I want to focus on for 2021 on this channel, this is going to sound weird when I say this, but I want to read less. And what I mean by that is I want to read more quality books as opposed to just sort of stockpiling a bunch of books and hauling a bunch of books that I say to myself, oh, I'm going to read this for sure. Yeah. And then when I get to, I just am like, oh no. now I don't want to read that, and then it ends up getting unhauled because I never read it. You saw that unhaul I did. You saw how many books that I just never read or I DNF'd, right? So yeah, I'm not going to go on and on and on about that, but I think you guys know what I mean. I just want to read more books that I really want to read. It's as simple as that, right? As a matter of fact, Jane's Addiction. Another thing too that's going to hopefully, I say these things now, but when it comes down to it, who knows what's going to happen, you guys, right? You know me. Here's where I say thank you for watching my channel and putting up with me, because it's a very disorganized channel, you guys. And I try really hard to do weekly wrap-ups of books and things of that nature, as opposed to doing 6 or 7 books mid-month or end of the month wrap-ups where it's just tons of books. But sometimes it just works that way. And lately I've been just doing one video a week. So it's kind of hard to squeeze in all the books that I do read into one video, because then it ends up being a video that is 40 minutes long that I have to cut in half and edit down to 20 minutes, because I really don't like to do anything over 25 minutes. So basically what I want to do a little differently, I'm going to experiment with it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I will be doing more weekly wrap-ups. Say, I read a couple books during the week. At the end of the week, most likely, or maybe even the middle of the week, who knows, the video of that week, there will be a wrap-up of what I read that week, and if there's room, maybe a tag or something like that, which leads me in, segues me into the next thing, is catching up on those darn tags. So forgive me if I haven't done any of the tags that you've tagged me in. I will try. I've been writing them down. Literally, there's a page in here somewhere that is a tag page where I've written all the tags. So if I don't do all of them, please don't be pissed at me. But I'm honored that you did think of me, and you did tag me in that particular tag. So I will be catching up on them. I'm setting some goals for myself. I noticed after I read The Ghostwriter that because that was in my Kindle library, I found a lot of books in my Kindle library that I have not read. So I want to make a point of getting to at least 1 or 2 of my Kindle Unlimited. Another thing is, again, I explained this in pretty much the last 2 videos that I did, was that I'm dipping my toes into different genres and subgenres now, and I'm really, really enjoying it, you guys. That last video I did where I picked up that paranormal YA romance book series, the Hush Hush one by Becca Fitzpatrick. I did read the first one and I loved it. There you go, right? Because of BookTube, because of watching all of your videos where you talk about YA or paranormal romance or whatever, I've gotten these, great suggestions, and I decided, I'm going to go ahead and start reading different genres, because this isn't just about me, it's about you guys too, and I want to be able to be a little bit more well-versed, because maybe you're feeling the same way I am and you want to try different genres that you didn't really think about trying before, and you're a little nervous to where to begin. I'd like to be able to help you out with that, So if I'm the guinea pig, that's fine with me. I'll be the guinea pig. Thing is, I am only going to put on my TBR books that I know I'm going to read. You can't be a mood reader and create a giant TBR. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing definitely more field trips. I have a massive unhaul planned for probably January. You're going to see that happening. And then another thing I wanted to do too was a author spotlight. So I'm going to be spotlighting again. I mentioned some of them earlier in the books that were my favorites of the year, dedicating videos to authors I don't hear about that much on BookTube that I enjoy a great deal. Yeah, so this year has been a great reading journey this year, you guys. What about you? Obviously I read a lot of books. I read almost 200 books, and I'm actually recording this a little earlier on before the year is over. So I'll probably squeeze another couple books in before the year is over. But it's been a phenomenal year for me for reading, and just starting this channel has been a incredible experience. I've met so many wonderful people on BookTube, other booktubers who you guys know who you are. I love all of you. You're just so amazing. Everybody who comments on my videos, people that I comment on your videos, feedback that we give each other. It just is a great community, and I'm just so happy. I'm so thankful that I made the decision to start a BookTube channel, because if I hadn't, I would not know any of you guys. It's funny, but it does feel like a family in a very odd way, right? But it's a wonderful thing. So wrapping up this video, yeah, I had a wonderful reading journey this year, you guys. I hope you have too. I hope that you have an incredible New Year's. So happy New Year, you guys. I will see you next year. Yay! I wish I had a little thing. I should have thought about that before, right? I know I'm gonna forget something, and then I'm gonna like, oh well, instantly. So may all your dreams come true. Oh God.